The alarm started ringing across the alien nursery. Loud and sharp, red lights flashed on every wall. Small alien caretakers rushed from one room to another. Confused and scared, something was wrong, very wrong. In the center chamber, inside a transparent pod, a human baby was crying, but this was not a normal cry. It was loud, powerful, almost painful to hear. The machines around her started to glitch. One screen flickered again and again. Another device shut down completely. System error. Unknown biology. Unknown signals, one machine repeated. The alien caretakers stepped back. They had seen many species before, but never something like this. Humans are weak, one of them said nervously. They are fragile. They do not survive here. But the baby inside the pod moved suddenly. Her tiny hand hit the glass wall. The sound was stronger than expected. One caretaker froze. That's strength. It is not normal. The baby opened her eyes. They were not calm. They were focused. She stopped crying for a moment and looked directly at the aliens. It felt like she was watching them. Learning them, the machines tried again to scan her body. But the results made no sense. Energy patterns unstable. Growth rate unpredictable. Brain activity too high. The room became silent. One senior caretaker entered slowly. His voice was cold. This child is a mistake, but sir, she is just a baby. Another one said softly. No, the senior replied. She is a risk, the baby suddenly cried again. Louder than before. The sound echoed through the entire facility. A nearby control panel exploded with sparks. The caretakers jumped back in fear. She is affecting the systems, someone shouted. The senior caretaker made a quick decision. Remove her. The room went quiet again. Remove her. And send her to disposal level. The others hesitated. Sir? Disposal level is for failed subjects. Exactly, he said. 2 guards entered, wearing heavy suits. They carefully opened the pod. The moment the glass opened, the baby became silent. She did not cry, she did not move, she just looked at them. That look made one guard uncomfortable. It feels like she understands, he whispered. Stop thinking and move, the other guard replied. They picked her up. She did not resist. She did not cry. She just kept watching. As they carried her through long metal halls, the red lights slowly turned off. The alarm stopped, but the tension remained. They reached a dark section of the facility, a place where broken machines and failed experiments were thrown away. The air was cold, the lights were dim. This is where she belongs, one guard said. They placed the baby inside a small container. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the baby moved her hand again. She touched the cold metal surface, and once again. She did not cry. She only looked around, watching, learning. The guards closed the container and walked away. She will not survive the night, one of them said. Of course not. She is human, the other replied. Far away, back in the nursery control room, the senior caretaker looked at the reports again. Something was still wrong. He looked at the last scan result one more time, and his expression changed slightly. Impossible. He whispered, because one line was still blinking on the screen. Adaptation in progress. Back in the dark disposal zone, the small human baby slowly opened her eyes again, this time. She was not crying, she was silent, too silent, as if she had already understood one thing. No one was coming to save her, so she would have to survive. On her own, and deep inside that silent, broken place, something had already begun to change, something the aliens were not ready for, and they had no idea. What they had just created, the disposal zone was silent, cold, and forgotten. No alarms, no caretakers. No light except a weak blue glow from broken machines. The small human child lay inside the metal container, awake. She did not cry anymore. Her eyes moved slowly, watching everything around her. A distant sound echoed through the dark. Metal scraping against metal. Something was moving. Small maintenance drones rolled across the floor. Collecting broken parts, they did not notice her to them. She was just another discarded object. The child slowly pushed her tiny hand against the container wall. It was heavy, but she pushed again and again. The lid shifted slightly. No hesitation, no fear, only quiet effort. After several tries, the lid opened just enough. Cold air rushed inside. She blinked once, then pulled herself out. Her movement was slow, unstable but determined. The floor was freezing. Her bare skin touched the metal. For a normal human child, this would be too much. But she stayed still for a moment. Adjusting, her breathing changed, her body reacted, and then she moved again, in the distance. A drone passed by. It made a soft humming sound. The child turned her head toward it, watching, learning. She followed it slowly, crawling behind. The drone stopped near a pile of broken devices. It scanned them, then moved pieces into its storage unit. The child watched carefully. When the drone left, she moved closer. Her small hands touched the objects. Sharp edges, wires, cold surfaces. She picked up a piece of metal, turned it in her hand, then dropped it. Not useful. She moved to another object, a small container with dried nutrient gel inside. She touched it, then tasted it. Her face did not change. She ate it slowly. It was not enough, but it was something. Time passed. No one came. No one checked. The child began to move more. Her crawling became faster, more stable. She followed drones again and again. Every movement they made, she copied. Every sound they produced, she listened. At first, her voice was silent. Then one day, she made a small sound, a soft, broken echo of the drone's tone. It was not perfect, but it was close. She tried again and again. Each time, better. Days turned into weeks. Her body grew stronger. Her mind grew sharper. She learned where the drones brought waste. She learned where nutrient gel could be found. She learned where heat pipes passed through the walls, small areas where she could stay warm. No one taught her. She learned everything alone. One day, something changed. A drone stopped near her. It did not move away immediately. Its sensors flickered. The child froze. She looked directly at it, then slowly. She made a sound, a low mechanical tone, very similar to the drone's signal. The drone paused for a moment. It responded, a short beep. The child's eyes widened slightly. She repeated the sound, this time clearer. The drone did not attack. It did not leave. It simply turned and continued its task. But something had happened. The system had not marked her as a threat. The child watched it go, her mind working fast. She understood something important. Sound was control from that day. She practiced more, different tones, different patterns. Her voice was still small, but improving. She was no longer just surviving. She was adapting, far above, in the main facility. A technician checked a minor system report. "Strange signal detected in disposal zone," he said casually. "Probably a broken drone," another replied. They ignored it, but deep below, in the cold darkness, the human child stood near a weak light source. Not crawling anymore, standing, unstable. But standing, her eyes reflected the blue glow. No fear, no confusion, only focus, only growth. She opened her mouth again, and this time, the sound she made was clearer than ever before, almost perfect, almost alien. And somewhere in the silent system logs, a new line appeared. Behavior anomaly increasing. But no one was watching closely. No one understood that the child they had thrown away was no longer just surviving. She was becoming something else, something they would not be able to control very soon. The disposal zone was not silent anymore. It was learning. Soft mechanical sounds echoed through the dark halls. But now, there was something new mixed inside them. A voice, small, imperfect, but growing. The human child stood near a broken console, her fingers moving across its surface. She did not understand the machine fully, but she understood patterns. Lights blinked in sequences, sounds followed signals. And she was connecting them. Her eyes followed every flicker. Every change. She leaned closer, listening. Then she opened her mouth. A low tone came out, not random, not noise, a copy. The console flickered in response. The child froze, then slowly. She repeated the sound, this time clearer. The machine reacted again. A small light turned green. The child's breathing slowed. She had done something important. From that moment, she did not stop. She tested different tones, different patterns. Each time watching carefully, each time learning faster. Days passed. Her movements became confident, her balance stronger. She no longer crawled, she walked. Still unstable sometimes, but improving quickly. The drones around her no longer ignored her completely. Some paused when she made certain sounds. Some changed direction. The system was confused. Because she was not supposed to exist. Above, in the main facility, a scientist frowned at his screen. "Signal interference again," he said. From disposal level, another scientist sighed. "That area is full of broken systems." "Ignore it," but the first one hesitated. "These signals. They are repeating. Machines repeat signals." The other replied casually. "No," he said slowly. "These are learning, back in the darkness." The child stood in front of a larger drone. It was taller than her, with multiple arms and sensors. It stopped suddenly, its sensors focused on her. The child did not run. She stepped forward, slow, careful. Then she made a sound, a complex tone, one she had practiced many times. The drone did not move for a moment. Nothing happened. Then the drone responded, a clear mechanical signal. The child's eyes widened slightly. She repeated it, not perfect, but close. The drone paused again, then responded once more, a pattern, a conversation, slow, broken, but real. For the first time she was not alone, she was communicating. Her voice grew stronger with each attempt, her sounds more accurate, the gap between human and alien shrinking. Far above, the scientist stood up suddenly. "That is not a machine," he said firmly. "What do you mean?" his colleague asked. He turned the screen, showing the signal patterns. "They are evolving. Adapting." The room went quiet. "Send a probe," he ordered. Now, back in the disposal zone, a small surveillance drone entered quietly. It scanned the area, searching. The child noticed it immediately. Her head turned slowly. She watched it carefully. Different from the others. More focused, more dangerous. The drone moved closer. Scanning her body, recording everything. The child stepped back slightly. Then she made a sound, sharp, controlled. The drone froze for a second, its system confused. The child spoke again this time. Clearer, almost a word. The drone's signal spiked, above. The scientist stared at the screen. "Did you hear that?" one whispered. "Impossible." The child opened her mouth again, her voice still small, but now carrying meaning. A single broken word formed, not perfect, but real. "Stow." P. The drone systems glitched for a moment. The room above exploded with tension. "She spoke," someone said. "She used a command." "That is not possible," another replied. But it was, because down in the cold darkness, the rejected human child stood still, breathing slowly, her eyes locked on the drone. No fear, no confusion, only control. She had crossed a line from survival to intelligence, from observation to communication, and now they had finally noticed her. The system that ignored her was watching now, and the truth was clear. The child they had thrown away was learning faster than they could understand, and this was only the beginning. Asterisk. The moment the child spoke, everything changed, not just in the disposal zone, but in the entire facility. Screens lit up across control rooms. Warning signals flashed. Unauthorized command detected. Source unknown. The scientists were no longer calm. "This is not possible," one said, staring at the data. "A human child cannot do this." But the proof was right in front of them. Down below, the child stood still. The surveillance drone hovered in front of her, frozen for a moment. Its system trying to understand what just happened. The child tilted her head slightly, watching it carefully. Then she spoke again, this time. Stronger. Stop. The word was clearer now. Not broken, not weak. The drone responded instantly. It shut down its movement completely. Above, the control room went silent. "She just issued a direct command," someone whispered. "But she does not have access." "She made access," another replied slowly. That sentence changed everything, because it meant one thing. The child was not just copying anymore. She was understanding back in the disposal zone. The drone slowly reactivated, its systems trying to override the command. The child watched the process closely. She took one small step forward, then placed her hand on the drone's metal surface, cold, hard, lifeless, but to her, it was something else. A system, a pattern, a language. She closed her eyes for a brief second, listening, not with ears, but with focus. Then she spoke again, not one word, but a sequence. A tone pattern she had never used before, more complex, more precise. The drone's lights flickered. Its arms moved slightly then. It stopped resisting. It accepted the command. The child opened her eyes. No excitement, no fear, only quiet realization she had done it again, but this time better, far above. The scientists were no longer just watching. They were afraid. She is adapting faster than predicted. This is beyond learning. This is evolution. The senior scientist entered the room. His expression serious. "Prepare a containment unit," he said. "We cannot let this continue." "But sir." "She's just a child," someone said. "No," he replied coldly. "She is becoming something we cannot control." Back below, the child was no longer alone. The drone that once ignored her now stayed near her, following her movements, responding to her signals. She walked slowly through the dark halls, the drone behind her, like a silent shadow. She stopped near a damaged wall panel. Sparks flickered from it. Unstable, dangerous. The child looked at it for a moment, then turned to the drone. She made a short sound, a command. The drone moved forward. Using its tools, it opened the panel. The child stepped closer, watching every movement, every connection. Then she reached inside. Her small fingers touched the wires. For a normal being, this would be dangerous. But she did not pull back. She adjusted one connection, then another. The spark stopped. The panel stabilized. The light above turned on, bright, steady. The child blinked once, then looked up. A small area of the dark zone was now filled with light. She had fixed it, without training, without instruction above. The scientist stared in shock. She repaired a system that requires technical knowledge she was never taught. The senior scientist clenched his hand slightly. "This is no longer acceptable. Send a capture team, now, back in the disposal zone." The child stood in the light she had created, her face calm, her eyes reflecting the glow. The drone beside her, silent and loyal. She looked around slowly. This place was no longer just a survival zone. It was something else now, a place she understood, a place she could control. She opened her mouth again, testing another sound. More complex, more powerful. The systems around her reacted slightly. Lights flickered, signals shifted. She stopped, processing, learning, growing far above. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed. The capture team was moving, armed, prepared. They believed they were going to contain a child, but down below, standing in the light, with a machine at her side, the human they had rejected was no longer just a child. She was becoming something far more dangerous. Something that could think, something that could control, and something they were already too late to stop. The facility was no longer calm. What started as a small error had become a full alert, doors locked across multiple levels. Security drones activated, and deep below, in the disposal zone. She felt it, the change, the air was different. The sounds were sharper, the system was awake now. The child stood still in the light she had created. Her eyes slowly moved upward, as if she could sense them watching. Her drone remained beside her, silent, waiting, above. Inside the central control room, the senior scientist stood in front of a large screen. The child's image displayed clearly now, no longer a blur, no longer ignored. "This is her," he said. The room was quiet. Another scientist stepped forward. "We found something in the old records." The senior scientist did not move. "Show me." The screen changed. Old data files opened. Corrupted logs, hidden reports. "This file was erased," the scientist explained. But not completely. Lines of text appeared slowly. Project. Hybrid adaptation. The room froze. That project was canceled years ago. Someone said quietly, "No," the senior scientist replied. "It was not canceled. It was hidden," the data continued. Objective. Create a life form capable of surviving any environment. Method. Combine human adaptability with alien neural enhancement. Silence filled the room. Then one final line appeared. Subject 01. Status. Unstable. The senior scientist's eyes narrowed. Unstable. Or successful, he said slowly. Below, in the dark zone, the child suddenly stepped back. Her expression changed slightly. Something new. A feeling, not fear. Recognition. Flashes crossed her mind. Broken images, bright lights, voices, cold hands. She pressed her hand against her head. Breathing slightly faster, the drone moved closer. But she did not look at it. She was seeing something else, something from before. Before the darkness, before the silence. A voice echoed faintly in her memory. Adapt. Survive, learn. Her breathing slowed again. Her eyes opened fully. Clear, focused, different. Above, the scientist continued reading. Subject shows accelerated learning. Subject may develop independent intelligence. Warning, if subject survives. Control may not be possible. The room became tense. They knew, one scientist whispered. They knew this could happen. The senior scientist closed the file slowly. "This is not just a child," he said. "This is the result of our own experiment, and we threw her away," another added quietly. Below, the child looked at her hands, turning them slowly, as if seeing them for the first time. She was not confused anymore, not lost. She was connecting the pieces, the sounds, the systems. The memories, it all made sense now. She was not learning like others. She was remembering. Her gaze lifted again. Straight toward the ceiling. Toward the world above, for the first time. There was emotion in her eyes. Not fear, not sadness. Something stronger, awareness above. Alarm suddenly changed tone. Capture team entering disposal zone. Distance. Decreasing. The senior scientist watched the screen closely. "Do not underestimate her," he said firmly. "She is already beyond our expectations." Below, heavy footsteps echoed through the metal halls. The capture team had arrived, armed, prepared. They moved carefully, weapons raised. Lights scanning the darkness. The child heard them. Of course she did. She turned slowly, facing the direction of the sound. Her drone moved slightly forward, ready. The light behind her cast a long shadow, making her look taller, stronger, not like a lost child anymore. But something else. She took one step forward. Then another, no hesitation, no fear. Her voice came out again, clearer than ever before. Not broken, not weak. "I understand." The words echoed softly. The soldiers froze for a second. "She can speak," one whispered. But they had no idea. This was not the real shock. The real shock was yet to come. Because standing there, in the half-light, the human they had rejected was no longer just learning their language. She was understanding their past, their systems, their mistakes, and soon she would understand how to defeat them. Asterisk, the footsteps grew louder in the dark metal halls, heavy, controlled, dangerous. The capture team moved in formation, weapons ready, lights cutting through the shadows. They expected fear, they expected resistance. But what they saw was silence. The child stood in the half-light, still, calm, waiting, behind her. The small repaired panel glowed softly, and beside her, the drone remained motionless, watching. "She is there," one soldier whispered. "Target confirmed," another replied. Their weapons locked onto her. "Do not move," the leader commanded. His voice echoed through the empty space. The child did not react immediately. She looked at them, one by one, studying their stance, their breathing, their timing. Then she took one slow step forward. The soldiers tightened their grip. "I said do not move," the leader repeated. The child tilted her head slightly, then she spoke. "You came." The words were clear now. Not broken, not weak. The soldiers froze for a moment. "She is speaking fluently," one said under his breath. "Stay focused," the leader snapped. "Secure the target." Two soldiers moved forward carefully. Slow, controlled steps. The child watched them closely. Her eyes sharp, calculating. Then she made a soft sound, almost like a whisper, a signal. The drone beside her activated instantly. Its arms extended, blocking the soldier's path. "Machine interference," one shouted. "Disable it." A pulse shot fired. The drone staggered, sparks flying, but it did not fall. The child's expression changed slightly. Not fear, something else, decision. She stepped back once, then spoke again. A rapid sequence of tones, faster than before. The lights around them flickered violently. The walls hummed, systems began to glitch. "What is happening?" one soldier shouted. "She is inside the system," another replied. Panic rising, the doors behind them slammed shut. Locking automatically, the team was trapped inside. The leader raised his weapon again. "End this now." He aimed directly at the child. But before he could fire, the lights went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room for a moment. There was nothing, no movement, no sound. Then, a voice, soft, calm, but everywhere. "I understand." All of it. The soldiers turned, trying to locate her. "Find her," the leader ordered, but their scanners failed. Their systems were no longer responding. Because she had taken control, in the darkness she moved silently. Faster than before, more precise. She knew their positions, she knew their limits. One soldier felt something behind him. He turned quickly, too late. A metal panel dropped between him and the others, separating the team. Panic spread. "This is not possible," someone shouted. But it was happening. One by one, the team lost control of the environment. Their weapons failed, their communication broke. The child stepped into a faint light again, now on the other side of the room. Far from where she stood before. How she moved so fast. None of them understood. She looked at them again. No anger, no fear, only clarity. "You wanted to remove me," she said softly, her voice echoing through the broken systems. "But you made me." The leader stared at her, breathing hard. "Stand down," he said. But his voice had no power anymore. The child shook her head slightly, then turned away. She was not here to fight. She was leaving. A hidden door opened behind her, one that was never meant to open from this side. She had found it. Of course she had. The drone followed her quickly, damaged but still moving. "Stop her," the leader shouted, but no one could move fast enough. The systems were still under her control. She stepped through the door into a new section of the facility. Brighter, cleaner, closer to the world above. For the first time, she was leaving the place where she was abandoned. Behind her, the doors slammed shut again. Locking the team inside, silence returned slowly. The lights flickered back on, systems rebooted. But it was too late, far ahead. Walking into the unknown corridors, the human they had rejected was no longer hiding, no longer surviving. She was moving forward, learning faster, growing stronger, and now she was free inside their world, a world that still believed she was just a mistake, a world that was about to realize they had created something they could not stop, and something that was finally ready to face them. The upper levels of the facility were bright, clean and controlled. Everything here followed rules. Everything here was predictable, but she was not. The child walked slowly through the long white corridor. Her steps soft, her movement calm. Behind her, the damaged drone followed, its lights flickering. But still loyal, for the first time. She was not surrounded by darkness. She was inside their world now. Above her, cameras tracked her movement. Every step recorded. In the central control room, no one spoke. They watched her in silence. She escaped the capture team, one scientist said quietly. She did not escape, the senior scientist replied. She advanced. The word stayed in the room, advanced, because that was the truth. She was not running, she was moving forward. Learning faster with every step, the child stopped in front of a large sealed door. It was different from the others. Stronger, more protected. She looked at it for a moment. Then raised her hand slowly. Her fingers touched the surface. Cold, smooth. She closed her eyes briefly. Listening again, the system behind the door was complex. Layered with security, but to her, it was just another pattern. She spoke not a single word, but a sequence, longer, clearer, more powerful than before. The door responded instantly. Locks disengaged, lights shifted. The door opened slowly inside. The central chamber, the place where decisions were made. The place where she was rejected. The place where they chose to throw her away. Now she had entered it. The room was filled with high-ranking alien leaders. Scientists, commanders, all of them staring at her. No one moved, no one spoke, because they were seeing the result of their own actions. Standing in front of them, small, quiet, but powerful, the child stepped inside. Her drone stopped at the entrance, as if it knew this moment was hers alone. The door closed behind her. A soft echo filled the room. The senior scientist stepped forward slowly, his voice calm, but tense. "You should not be here." The child looked at him. No anger in her eyes, only understanding. "You sent me away," she replied. Her voice steady, clear. The room felt colder suddenly. "That was necessary," one leader said. "You were unstable." The child tilted her head slightly. Then spoke again. "You were afraid." Silence. No one answered, because it was true. She took another step forward. "I learned," she continued, "from your machines. Your systems. Your mistakes." Her words were simple, but heavy. The leaders looked at each other, uncertain. "You are dangerous," another said. The child paused for a moment, then asked softly, "To who?" The question stayed in the air. No one responded, because they did not have an answer. She looked around the room slowly, at every face, at every being that once ignored her. Then she spoke again. "I was alone. For a long time." Her voice did not break, but the meaning was clear. "You left me." The senior scientist lowered his gaze slightly, for the first time. "Regret, but it was too late." The child raised her hand slightly. The systems in the room flickered. Not aggressively, not violently, just enough to show control. "I can stop everything," she said quietly. "Your systems. Your control. Your power." The room became tense again. Guards prepared to act, but they did not move, because they knew. It would not matter. The child looked at them again, then slowly lowered her hand. "I will not," she said. That sentence changed everything. Confusion spread across the room. "You will not?" One leader asked. She shook her head slightly. "No, I am not your mistake. I am what comes after." Her words were calm, but powerful. She stepped closer to the center of the room. Standing where decisions were made, standing where she was once rejected. "You wanted something that could survive anything," she continued. "You created it." Silence filled the chamber again, but this time it was different. Not fear, not denial, realization. The child turned toward the exit slowly. Her mission was not revenge, it was something bigger. Something they were only beginning to understand. As she reached the door, she stopped one last time. Without turning back, she spoke. "I am not here to destroy you. I am here to show you what you created." The door opened. Bright light filled the space beyond. She stepped forward, leaving the room behind, leaving the past behind, and as the doors closed, the leaders remained frozen in silence, because they finally understood. The human child they rejected was no longer part of their system. She was beyond it. And somewhere in that vast galaxy, a new future had just begun, one they could not control, but one they would never forget.